Oh, yeah, this did get recommended to me. Yeah, the Cole Hastings video. Okay, I guess we can check this out. Where is the world AI promised us? What about the switch and click arch video? Look, I like switch and click, but I feel like every distro video she does ends up basically being the same video. Again, I like her content, but like it's pretty much just, hey, what I'm gonna try to use the software I use on this. Oh, I've got a different laptop this time. Like, there's only so many times that I think is interesting. What the hell? They changed the moderator logo. That's new. Anyway, let's take a look at this. We watched one of this guy's videos before. I've watched some of his stuff in my own time as well.
AI is stealing artists' work. AI is causing mass layoffs. AI is displacing people's homes and destroying the environment. So, when is AI supposed to get good?
Wait.
AI is displacing people.
We're not gonna get into the water thing right now. There's a lot of layers to the water thing. Yeah. just know that a lot of the stuff you hear about the water problem is not accurate.
Homes and destroying the environment. So, when is AI supposed to get good? When is it going to open up opportunities to the disadvantaged and replace the monotonous, busy work that humans don't enjoy?
It actually is in some fields. I am sure he's going to get to it, but it is in some fields. So, one great thing is, for my videos, I don't write the subtitles for my videos. I generate them through Whisper, and then I basically clean them up after the fact. If I wasn't doing that, you wouldn't have subtitles for the videos. That's something I would never do. Like, yes, a lot of the focus is on the bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit, don't get me wrong. Lots and lots and lots of fucking bullshit. Like, AI drive-thrus. But if you dig through the weeds long enough, you'll eventually find something that's at least a productive use.
Since the answer to this question hasn't been fully addressed by the biggest AI companies yet, myself, along with many others on the internet, see AI as nothing but a soulless leech, designed only to benefit those who are already in positions of power. And I still think that's right for the most part, but to completely dismiss the possibility that AI could provide significant benefits to the world would be to look at this from a prejudiced point of view. In this video, I actually want to criticize myself, to examine my own bias towards hating AI. I want to explore where the current models of AI provide upsides to society and what it would take for us to start seeing way more of those upsides than downsides. Because as things stand, I still believe the balance tilts the other way. And before you immediately dislike this video and run to the comments asking which AI company bought me, firstly, it was Google Gemini. And secondly, just try to exercise open-mindedness.
I love it. You know, I love people that just refuse to watch the video before commenting. So in the video I put out today, on the on Dylan O'Raps Becoming a Farmer, someone was like, oh, this happened a year ago, you're a year late to this. He released the blog post like 3 days ago. Watch the fucking video before you comment.
I'm going to try to do in this video. Before we dive
in the chess world, machine learning models have been better than people at chess for about I want to say like 20 years, maybe longer. Let me see. When did a chess bot first beat a grandmaster? Yo, thank you for the stream elements. Why did you do that? Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. Apparently the alert broke, but I appreciate it. 1996 is when the first chess bot beat a grandmaster.
That is the distinction between AI and AGI.
How you doing?
For
Welcome.
the purpose of this video, the definition of AI will be large language model chatbots and generative AI, i.e. the systems designed to produce text, images, audio, or video in response to human prompts. AGI, on the other hand, which is short for Artificial General Intelligence, is the rather ambiguous term to describe a hypothetical advanced type of AI that can understand, learn, and apply knowledge across virtually any intellectual task the way a human can, possibly exceeding human reasoning altogether.
How's your stream?
AGI is what we imagine when we think of robots helping us with daily
It's some dramatic reading of a visual novel game. What visual novel? I hope it's something fun. Great way to collab. Yeah, no, it's actually if you have people that like voice acting, that's actually a kind of fun idea.
Tasks like folding laundry or cleaning our house without needing to be programmed or prompted each time. They simply just know what needs to be done. This distinction gives us a deeper insight into why people like me have a bias towards anything related to AI. When people like myself think of AI, we think of the examples that I open the video with. We tend to only focus on the damage being done because myself, along with others who share these views, see AI as what the Substack author describes as aesthetically unpreferable. AI is a soulless, lifeless technology that strips away the humanistic parts of the answers that it gives us.
See, the fun thing about that is this is a thing that I think a lot of people are gonna struggle to cope with. A lot of people don't actually care. Like, yeah, we can talk about AI art all day, but think about it like this, right? How many people care about a artisan-made table, right? If you can just go to IKEA and get some like cheap shit table, for a lot of people that's going to be better. And art for a lot of people isn't about the artistic merit of something. They're just interested in a scenario taking place. Or another example, like look at fast food if you want to look at it like that. How many people would go to like McDonald's because it's good enough? Rather than spending a little bit extra money and go to somewhere that you can get vastly better food. Because you know that even if McDonald's is shit, it's consistent. It is consistently shit. You don't have to step out of your comfort zone. If this video was live, I was surprised you mentioned today's video. You forgot that I was streaming. You've been here the last 3.5 hours.
That when the CEOs of these big AI companies speak, they sometimes say stuff like this.
You know, I think AI will probably, like, most likely sort of lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious machine learning.
Analyze these.
See, I don't know how much of a joke, because here's an awkward tech CEO, right? That might be an attempt at a joke, but he has no social cues. But did you see the was it the Nvidia CEO who was talking about how he wants people to stop like being mean about AI? Was it the Nvidia CEO? Oh, I feel like it was. Was it Microsoft? Yeah, it might have been Satya Nadella. It was Satya Nadella. Okay, right.
Sentences and my belief becomes
so I was like,
clear.
Hello.
AI is not authentic, crafted, or human-made, and even if it has
you're from the raid.
benefits, if it were to be implemented significantly...
Wait. I didn't even... Sorry. The raid happened like 10 minutes ago. I didn't know that if you joined from the stream after the raid was completed, it would still alert about the raid. I've never seen that happen before. Okay.
In everyday life, its mechanistic nature would detract from the quality of life in other meaningful ways.
You're part of the collab.
There is a certain
By the way, I didn't know
beauty
it would still do the alert. That's weird.
Imperfection in the fact that these skills are learned slowly and kept behind the barrier of years of intensive work. But you know what the author of that Substack article calls this? Brazenly classist. Upon initially reading this, I had an internal visceral reaction. My identity was put under threat, but after they explained why, I began to open up to the idea from a certain point of view. The central rebuttal has to do with the scarcity of human attention. Most people who tend to criticize any use of AI are coming from a place where they can afford scarce human attention, like tutors or other services that are usually expensive. The author also brings in medical decision-making into
I've got some friends who... Sorry, I keep pausing. I've got some friends who work in... education. I think high school? Maybe high school education. I've got some people who work in like tertiary education as well. And a lot of them don't really know how to handle AI in these classes because people, like, they know people are going to use it, right? And you can say, oh, we're just going to ban it entirely, but people are still going to use it anyway. So if people are going to use it anyway, like, how do you then go and, like, work out if it is AI? Because there are these AI detection tools, but they're not great. There is a lot of there's a lot of false positives with these tools. That's the real problem with any AI detection. And you see this with human AI detection on Twitter as well. You look at these have you ever seen these posts where people, like, they just put a bunch of red circles and red arrows on some art and they're like, AI. That's AI. And it's just like, if you know who the artist is, and it's obviously not, you know that they, like, you've seen maybe they even stream their drawing process, but people are still like, that's AI.
Mix, citing AI as a better than average medical decision.
AI detection tools are snake oil. Yeah, they pretty much always have been. Well, even before they were AI detection tools, when Turnitin was just a plagiarism tool, it already didn't work. I got marked for 50% plagiarism because of my references, my headers and my references. No shit, my references are copied because they're references. That's the point.
Maker. This is where I would probably have to disagree. In its current state, AI carries a high risk of leaving someone with an inaccurate diagnosis. That isn't to say chatbots haven't already demonstrated their ability to save lives in moments when human attention was scarce, but I don't think we should treat these rare cases as proof that AI is a reliable source for these issues that require serious medical attention. But let's return to the door that AI opens for tutoring services, because I think this is one of the strongest arguments in favor of using technology like this. The author states, wanting human-only production of goods and the prestige of the unautomated are preferences easiest to maintain from a position of security. After all, the affluent can still purchase the scarce human labor they need regardless of AI or not. This is not entirely baseless. For example...
Yeah, so there's this is one of the areas that a lot of people don't talk about. Like how the internet has opened the ability for people to learn things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to learn, in some ways, AI has done the same for people that aren't able to afford more expensive services. And I think that, yes, a lot of these tools get it wrong a lot of the time, but when people use these tools in an effective way, it actually can really help speed up your learning ability. I know people have used it for language learning and have it's actually relatively okay in some fields. Some other fields it's utter garbage and you shouldn't even touch it. But especially for things like JavaScript development, for example, areas that have a lot of examples, it tends to be relatively okay. And if you're not in a position to be able to afford any formal classes, like, it opens up some doors that otherwise wouldn't be there.
Consider some...
I'll be honest, I've used Gemini multiple times to inform me about something I have zero knowledge on, but you should supplement with other sources. Yeah, like, oftentimes what I have done is... So I've done videos where I've, like, gone through all of the resources I know of to find something. Let's say, like, the history of Wayland, for example. And then I often go to the tool at the end. I'm like, yo, did I miss anything? And usually it spits out a bunch of garbage. But sometimes in the sea of garbage, there is, like, one thing that I happen to miss. Vibe coding can give decent enough small changes, as long as you know what you want to accomplish and how it can handle the syntax bullshit in an unfamiliar language. So I saw this post. I think it was r/programming. This, I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but there was this student who was saying that him and all of his friends use AI. Yeah, here it is. Him and all of his friends use AI and don't even know how to program. Firstly, I don't know why you're paying for college if you're doing that. But secondly, there are people doing this. What is vibe coding? Basically, asking the AI to write code for you and then just judging the quality of it on vibes. That's effectively what it is. As it basically bullshitting your way through it. But like there is going to be a whole generation of young programmers who are completely cooked. Who are completely useless, completely unemployable, and are just banking on the fact that these tools get good enough by the time that, you know, they're actually ready to be employed. Because if you're a CS student, AI can trick you into thinking it's a lot better than it is. Because for basic problems like algorithms, right? Write me a bubble sort. Write me, I don't know, A star. Write me a linked list. AI is really good at these very core basic problems because they've been documented a million times. And you might think it's a lot better than it really is. Because writing a linked list is easy. Making use of a linked list for some larger, like, programming structure, that's a different case entirely.
Someone who wants to learn a foreign language. Maybe they come from a low-income family and can't afford a tutor, and the free resources available online that teach with the depth and structure of a real tutor are limited. In cases like this, AI gives non-native language speakers access to language learning that previously would have been monetarily barricaded from.
Come on, no use a linked list anymore. Okay, yes, sure. Yes, but look, have you? I don't remember. Did you do formal programming? Did you like do any formal programming study? Universities love linked lists. They love getting you to write a linked list.
Them. And with that new language, it could possibly open up the doors to make more money. Another example I can think of is someone who can't afford a personal trainer.
The program is in 99. Did you? Okay. Wow. Have you done any like college, university courses, anything like that? I don't remember. TTS? Yes? Hello? TTS? No? No? No TT... I guess the TTS is dead. I've used AI to give me bash scripts which I later error checked and adjusted for my coding style, but the official definition, it's not vibe coding because I reviewed the code myself. I don't know what happened there. That's a new one.
These are already paywalling AI running trainers, such as the Runna app, which integrates closely with Strava. Runna coaches users through an AI-assisted training system, and while it's likely more polished than a simple chatbot, providing better visual representations of your data, I'd argue the underlying value isn't all that different. You can get something quite similar by plugging your metrics into a tool like ChatGPT and asking it to generate a running plan tailored to your goals. In fact, I've done exactly this in the past, and it's helped me to run both faster and longer. There's also a rebuttal to the idea that human error...
Now, I don't know how trustworthy the data management is, but you will see doctors entering in client information and, like, creating a report through AI. Now, there is a separate version of ChatGPT that is, like, all HIPAA approved, but you will actually see that because they're not diagnosing you through AI. They're taking the diagnosis and then filling out the form with it because they don't want to fill out the form because no one wants to do that. But yes, that is a thing you will see.
Is good in every case because obviously it isn't. This rebuttal isn't directly tied to human attention being scarce or questions of equity, but I want to bring it up because it's a common sentiment that's aimed at people like me who are anti-AI. In fields where...
Well, okay, sorry. With the whole AI programming thing, if you're using AI to program and your goal isn't to program, I don't necessarily see a problem with that. If you just want to, like... If you just want to, after I finish this little bit here, if you just want to write a script and you have no interest in actually programming, kind of is what it is. If you're trying to learn to program, yeah, maybe not the best way to go about it. Okay, here are your ads. Fine. There you go. Enjoy your ads. I don't know how many of you guys are actually seeing those.
reasoning and logical consistency are critical, like law and medicine, human performance can vary wildly based on something as trivial as how much sleep someone got the night before, whether they're in the middle of a fight with their partner, or even their blood sugar levels. In theory, AI could remain logically consistent regardless of the day or time. To that you might say, well, Cole, as you already said in previous videos, AI has been proven to be biased based on the data it was trained on. And you'd be right, that is the problem right now. That's exactly why I wouldn't encourage its use in medical or legal decision-making yet. But even if AI reached the level of neutrality needed to surpass human performance, I'd be willing to bet that people would still oppose it, often on shakier grounds, like the claim that AI is totally unpredictable.
There's a
we don't know
cooldown.
what it will do if we
we'll do
allow
it
it to
later.
make these sorts of decisions. You know who's more unpredictable though? Humans. And just because
Also, I should add a
something is
cooldown to
detached
that.
from human nature doesn't automatically mean that it's worse in every respect. Where we can really see this bias playing out today is with self-driving cars. So I live in Austin, Texas, and Waymos, which are these autonomous self-driving cars, have already begun to roll out across the city, replacing some Uber drivers. Not too long.
Have you seen the video of... Okay, it's not a video. Have you seen any of the videos of police trying to pull over a Waymo? Let's see if we can find a good one. Police try to pull over Waymo. Here's a random one I just found.
Yeah, it stopped. It's a 92 Adam Sam, or a 92 Adam 2 Sam Paul, and there's no driver. Hi!
Connected to rider support. This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
Yeah, this is Officer Hines, Phoenix PD. So, your car here drove into oncoming lanes of traffic.
Okay, I will go ahead and take a look at that right now.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of a construction.
Okay, there's a bunch of ones where they just run away from the cops as well, and it's so fucking dumb.
I watched a family cross the street as a Waymo waited, preparing to turn right into their path. When noticing the self-driving car, with its vacant driver's seat and light detection sensor spinning ferociously on top, one of the children stopped and stared with nervous eyes. He put his hand out, palm facing the vehicle, frozen in uncertainty. Finally, when he realized the car was abiding, he started walking again. His brother then turned to him and said, "Those cars are scary."
Yeah.
Waymos have been proven to be statistically superior drivers to humans across all categories, especially...
This is the thing, though. Nobody knows statistics, okay? You can say all day and night, driverless cars are safer, Waymos are safer. It doesn't matter, because if it does something wrong, that is a problem with the entire fleet. People don't think in statistics, they think in events they see.
Safety.
Who is liable when something goes wrong? I would presume Waymo. But that doesn't change the fact that they just hit your dog.
Maybe if the kid knew this, he would have reacted differently, but I'm willing to bet that even if someone informed him of the lack of danger these cars possess, he would still have a more adverse reaction.
I think it's going to take probably a good 2 or so generations for people to get used to these cars, right? Like, if Waymos become really common, and then, let's say, 20 years from now, like, you know, you're all, I'm pretty sure most of you are old enough to remember some time before smartphones, right? I'm pretty sure we don't have any, like, actual babies here. There was a time where smartphones didn't exist. When smartphones came along, there were these really weird, really exciting devices. And now, anyone who's born after smartphones became a thing, became common, smartphones aren't weird. Smartphones are just a phone. And the older phones, they're now weird. If you live in an area where Waymos are really common, or Waymos just become more, like, really common everywhere, and then you're born after that fact, Waymos aren't weird. Waymos are something that are just, like, or even just like any sort of driverless cars, they're completely normal. But if you remember a time before those exist, the existence of this is gonna remain weird basically forever.
Compared to seeing a human in the driver's seat. I think most of us would feel something similar in this position even as adults, and it exposes a reflexive bias that we have against things we don't fully understand, even when those things have been shown to perform the task better than we do. Even on the creative side of things, which I typically hate seeing AI used for, you can still make a partial case for it. Have you ever used a noise reduction tool in an audio software? Have you ever had an editing software generate subtitles for you? Have you ever removed blemishes from a photo? Those were likely all done using some form of generative AI.
I was born right as phones came out. Like 100... I'm sorry. Sorry, right as phones came out? Sorry, how old are you? When was the first phone? I think we're the oldest person alive in my chat. We're at 150 years old.
These cases specifically, I think AI can help us focus more on what I described earlier, the messy process of working through emotions using art, and less on the more technical stuff like adding subtitles to a video, which I'm pretty certain no one likes to do manually. With all that being said, I want to be very clear that I'm only talking about these specific examples, about the narrow potential that AI has to save time and money for more people, theoretically increasing
Theoretically, yes,
concerns
that's the
around
important
bias,
part.
safety, misuse, labor displacement, surveillance, cognitive decline, and the erosion of human relationships, as the author lays out, are all very, very good reasons to despise AI. To me, these are serious and tangible problems, and if we examine the primary reasons people currently use AI, we'd likely conclude that it's doing more harm than good. But again, that doesn't mean that these systems should be shut down entirely, at least not if there's still a path forward for them to do what we hope they might do, which is make things more fair and equitable and free up time for us to do more things that humans enjoy doing. Now let's move on to the second reason people like me tend to be biased against AI, politically motivated reasoning. This is a good moment to point out that the Substack essay is specifically critiquing humanities majors in college, which is a group that often...
It's related. Okay, it's related? Sure. Okay. What is this? X driver. 6.67. We're not addressing that. X driver said in the future, where all transportation is easily controlled by AI. Though, like all machines, they tend to break down, lose control, or get reprogrammed. This is where 3 high schools with non-AI cars, a Subaru WRX, Caterham Super 7, and Lotus Europa come to save the day and make sure that... What the fuck is this? Nah, that's actually so stupid. Actus. What has Actus done? I don't think they're around anymore. Oh, they are around. Wait. Oh, shit. Oh, the Princess Principal. Oh, I see. They're the Girls und Panzer studio. Right, that's why... That's basically all they do, and then random other little things.
Skews strongly towards rejecting AI altogether. That's why the author brings up politically motivated reasoning as a source of bias, because humanities majors overwhelmingly lean left on the political spectrum. And since I too lean left, even though so many of you still seem to think otherwise, I figured this would be a great time to uncover another bias of mine and perhaps yours too. The author writes, over the last half-decade or so, in the arts we've been constantly reminded about the ways in which right-wingers relentlessly defend patently false beliefs and viewpoints, and how it's the educated left's role to steer the country back on course. No disagreements from me there, and it's certainly more socially acceptable to be seen as on the left in real life, especially in really densely populated American cities. The author then goes on to argue that false beliefs and misinformation being spread rapidly on the internet is not a one-sided issue. It's due to politically motivated reasoning on both sides. Politically motivated reasoning is what happens when you have an identity to protect, and if your identity is skewed towards one side of the political spectrum, you are far more likely to accept information that reinforces your existing worldview, while dismissing or
A lot of people don't think through things. They believe the thing that they are told, and then it's very easy to convince someone of something. It's very hard to convince them that they were wrong. Because if you're trying to convince someone that they're wrong, that means that there's something they did badly. And it's not just a political thing, it's with everything, right? a lot of people have a hard time at believing that they were wrong about something, because a lot of people tie their sort of identity to them being correct. They tie their identity to this being the truth, and if it's not the truth, that means there's some fault with them. Surrender to it with like minds, you won't usually break free of that mentality. Exactly, yeah.
Rationalizing away anything that threatens it, even when the evidence is strong. In the case of being against AI in all facets, it tends to be a left-leaning bias, because more generally speaking, those on the left are more anti-tech and anti-corporation than those on the right. Take Twitter, aka X, for example. People share...
What is this video? See what your future children would look like with Grok, imagine. If your children look like this, there's a problem.
AI memes and AI slop all the time, and it usually gets a laugh. These days it feels like the platform is mainly right-wingers. But Twitter accounts who appear to be left-leaning usually have something negative to say about it. This negativity toward this specific instance of AI then spills over into all AI use cases.
Wait, sorry, random side tangent. So, I've never confirmed if this is true, so it might be bullshit, but I've heard it enough times that probably it's not bullshit. So there was this father who was on testosterone replacement, and there's a bunch of different ways you can do testosterone replacement. A lot of people do injections. He was using testosterone cream. Now, what he didn't realize is when you apply the cream to yourself, that cream can get onto other things as well. So, not long after he started taking it, he realized that there was some problems happening with his kid. His kid was like 3 at the time or something. And basically, through him holding his kid and him taking, like, using the testosterone cream, he was basically giving his kid TRT. Oh, there was also a House episode? I didn't know there was a House episode about this. But this is an actual thing that has happened. And the kid who was like 3 basically started entering like a pseudo puberty. Probably based on a true case, yeah. I imagine this probably happened more than once.
Being against big tech, and therefore for the average person, can become so tightly woven into one's identity that we end up dismissing any valid or reasonable argument in favor of AI as nonsense, even when it isn't. As the author puts it, AI has been deemed morally contaminated, a thing we as liberal arts enjoyers are supposed to oppose for cognitive incentives. The questions surrounding AI are therefore not, what is true about AI and under what conditions can it be beneficial, but instead, in what ways can I signal that I am one of the good understanders of the true ways in which AI is existentially destructive? I'm willing to bet that a lot of you, including myself, who are anti-AI, are functioning under the latter question more than we'd like to admit. That's all I would like to bring up regarding the Substack.
My problem with AI cars isn't the chance for accident, it's the potential new hacking targets. I'm not going to play it because it probably will get DMCA'd. But I just immediately think of that scene from Fast and the Furious where they like hack every car in the city and just start crashing them together.
Essay and the biases it revealed to me. So now I want to revert back to the question that I posed at the beginning of the video that the author of this Substack article posed in a similar way just a few sentences ago. What would it actually take for AI to become good, to produce more benefit than harm, and to take over the tasks most humans don't enjoy so we could spend more of our time doing the things we actually want to do? Well,
UBI. That's actually what it would take.
Firstly, we already have some sort of evidence to kind of prove that it's already doing that by shifting the types of roles that these companies are looking to fill. The problem is that these new job openings are not nearly keeping up to pace with how quickly the old jobs are becoming obsolete. The 2025 WEF Future of Job reports estimate that in the next 5 years, 170 million jobs are projected to be created and 92 million jobs to be displaced.
See, the problem with the job creation argument is as tech gets better, the kinds of jobs that exist are, in many cases, more technically intensive, right? There's no jobs like being on a construction line and you're the guy that turns the nuts, right? And there is this idea that everybody can be trained to do any sort of job. But there are people out there who no matter what level of training you give them, they're never going to be able to be a programmer or even something less than that, like a data entry, right? There are people out there who struggle to operate basic technology no matter how much training you give them. These are people that in the past would have been, a coal miner. They would have been the guy on the manufacturing line turning a nut. They would have done these jobs which are physically demanding, but don't require that much mental labor. And I worry that as more tech-involved jobs exist, that segment of the market, which has already been effectively destroyed, is going to only get worse,
resulting in a net gain of 78 million jobs. Right now, we're seeing AI automate a lot of these jobs that people are being displaced from, but the jobs that they're supposed to create don't exist yet. For the next few years, I think there's going to be an unavoidable bust until organizations restructure work around an AI-driven economy and workers are able to develop the skills needed to step into the roles that eventually emerge. Now, there's certainly an argument to be made that somewhere along the lines of, why didn't we just keep things the way they are so these jobs wouldn't become obsolete, or at the very least, gradually assimilate into AI instead of pumping it into every single company, but I guess that ship has kind of already sailed. The better questions are, what do these new jobs look like, and are they generally more enjoyable than the jobs being displaced? Well, I took a deeper look into the report, and it seems the largest growing jobs will be related to farm workers or other agricultural workers.
This is one of those areas where, there are jobs on a farm that don't require that much mental labor. But a lot of people think that farming is this, because people have this idea in their head that farming is just it's the dumb country hillbilly. If you're operating a large scale farm, this is actually, there's a lot of tech involved in a modern farm, right? Just basic things like weather sensors. Then you get into the fact that pretty much every bit of farm equipment is a driving computer. The jobs many people don't. It's less that people don't want to do them. It's more that a lot of them don't pay super well, right? I feel like. Also, there's just not that much infrastructure. That's the other big problem, right? If you're out working in farmland, a lot of that is away from the cities. And a lot of people want to be, even if they don't want to live in the city, they want to be able to get to the city. But if it's an hour and a half drive, that's, you can do that, but it's not something you want to do all the time. Your jobs that should be paid well, but are paid dirt. Yeah. There's a lot of problems with, distribution of fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, where the farmers, you look at, I don't know, an avocado, it's $4. The farmer's not getting $4 because everywhere along that chain, it's the supermarket is taking a cut, the distributor's taking a cut, then there's there's import taxes or just general, other taxes the country might have, and then the slice the farmer gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Delivery service drivers and software and applications developers, while the largest declining jobs are all related to secretaries. Ticket clerks and cashiers and ticket clerks, I will be genuinely surprised. I know it's for you, but pretty much every store I go to now has some sort of automated, payment system. Have some sort of, either it's an automated, you're buying a ticket, you're going, even if you're going to a small little, small little restaurant, a lot of these places, they don't even, they just have some automated system there. Security guards, clerks, and cleaners. You can tell me in the comments whether the jobs being created are more desirable than the jobs that are...
A lot of people like to call the automated cash registers, the automated tellers, the stealing aisle. Because, well, for obvious reasons.
Declining, but what might be even more interesting is what types of skills these employers are now looking for. Across all jobs, the core skills employers are looking for both now and 5.
Oh, yeah. Also, just remember, if you are looking for a new job, people in tech fields are often sending out tens of thousands of resumes that they're automating. So have fun competing in that market as well.
Years into the future, besides AI and big data skills, which is obvious, are technological literacy and creative thinking. Conversely, sensory processing abilities, manual dexterity, endurance and precision, and reading, writing, and mathematics are going out of focus. I think
If you want a field that a lot of people have undervalued for a long time, but makes a lot of money, get a trade. I don't know what it was like for you, but when I went through school, the idea of going and getting a trade was sort of not necessarily looked down upon, but it wasn't something that people were encouraged to do. It's one of those things where, like, if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, if you're a panel beater working for, like, a mechanic, right? Like, all of these are actually really, like, relatively well-paid positions. But for a long time, the idea of getting a blue-collar job like that, I feel like trades looked down on. Yeah, it's maybe not as bad for me because the area I grew up in was not that well off of an area. So a lot of people had parents who worked in trade, stuff like that. But the schools never really encouraged that as a path. Even though some trades are the most essential jobs. Yeah, we have a builder shortage in Australia, right? Like that's part of the reason why our houses are going up so much. There's a million other reasons, but that's part of the reason.
Endurance and precision, and reading, writing, and mathematics are going out of focus. I think in a way it's kind of cool that companies are placing less focus on how physically capable you are and more focus on how creative you are and how you can use technology to harness that creativity. I think that opens the door for some really interesting jobs that people genuinely enjoy doing that wouldn't be limited to people who are physically superior. But again, it's really a matter of how quickly companies can do this, because as it stands, many people are losing their jobs and are going to continue losing their jobs. Now, what about AGI, the second type of AI that we started the video with? This is the thing that people who are even vehemently against AI could maybe see some utility in. Robots who could actually function the way we thought robots would in the future.
My understanding is the biggest problem with human robotics is actually the robotics side. The AI side is complicated, but my understanding is the robotics part's considerably harder. And that's probably going to trickle down from, like, military tech.
Assisting the disabled, taking care of the busy work, how far away is that? Well, based on the
also sex toys,
admittedly small amount of research
military and sex toys, those are the leaders of robotics right now.
I've done, from listening to podcasts to consulting my wife who works in the AI industry, I've concluded that there's some good news and there's some bad news. And I'm going to start with the bad news first, sorry. The bad news is that the term AGI at the moment is more hype than anything. It's something used to describe a hypothetical future, one where machines can generalize knowledge the way humans do by moving fluidly between tasks, adapting, and exercising judgment without being narrowly trained for a single function. Good example of where we're at right now with this kind of power was the reveal of the Neo, which is claiming to be the first full-fledged humanoid robot. In the promotional video, you can see the robot opening the front door for people, doing work around the house, and watering plants outside. But when they showed a live demonstration, it was just a person controlling it remotely in a virtual reality headset. It seems we're still a long ways away from getting anything truly helpful like this over what most of this shit is currently being used for, which is stuff like this.
Sometimes there is no next time, no second chance.
But there is some good news, which is also mostly hypothetical. For this, we can look at the case study of Waymo. Believe it or not, there was actually a period of time where self-driving cars were thought to be pretty unreachable. In the 2010s, companies like Waymo had made early predictions that self-driving cars would be widespread by 2020, leading to rapid...
Yes, the people in Silicon Valley that have a vested interest in AI self-driving cars being common thought they were going to become common. Crazy. To be fair, those remote control robots are based in restaurants. They're actually okay. I think there is some merit for, you know, some sort of. Let's say you want to have a restaurant that has no human service, right? Like there's fun gimmicks like that. How widespread that would be, who knows? Like, you just have every server be a remote controlled server, right? Like, I think it's kind of a gimmick, but who knows? Maybe someone's gonna do it. Paralyzed servers? Sure, yeah, there's that as well. But we don't really have the brain control part of that sorted out, right? Because right now they're still controlled by human movement. So if you're paralyzed, you wouldn't be able to do so. Unless you had, like, canned movements. I think for that, you'd really need to work out, like, full brain interface stuff.
Obsolescence of human driving. When they were way too optimistic with their predictions, many saw it as proof that we're still decades away from any kind of this stuff. But the companies and Waymo progressed much faster than expected. And now they have the data to prove that they are safer than human drivers. We can only hope that a similar sort of progress will be made with these more advanced AI technologies that are supposed to help us in different sectors of work that will free up more space for enjoyable human work. But that still doesn't really answer the question, when all that work is taken over by AI, what will humans do to generate income? As
OnlyFans.
it stands right now, unless the government somehow drastically changes and regulations are put on AI to prevent it from all the rightful criticisms of its current implementation, like data collection, surveillance, and bias, I believe it's still going to be a net negative to society. Ultimately, the goal of this video was to open up the opportunity for people like you and me to
Who will pay for OnlyFans? The oil tycoons.
imagine a future where this sort of technology actually manages to do more good than harm for the world, and to challenge our biases so that we can approach this subject with a more nuanced, objective point of view. And hopefully, with that updated point of view, if this technology is truly not going anywhere, we can do something to implement these changes or push for their implementation. Let me know in the comments if we're absolutely cooked and I'm just stupid and wrong, and why. And if you want to watch another one of my AI sort of videos, you can check out my video on the AI bubble, which is going on right now. More information on AI, which I know you guys want to hear about, right? Because it's such positive information. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to go. Goodbye.
We are in, like, there is a bubble, it will burst, but a lot of people, like, see that bubble and think, oh, it's going to burst. That means when it bursts, everything's going to go away. What's going to happen is the same thing that happened when the .com bubble burst, where pretty much every web company went out of business because most of them didn't have any reason to exist. Like Amazon, for example. Amazon didn't go out of business, but they lost like 90% of their value. And a shitload of these just random .com companies, like, it was a common thing back then to just put .com in your name because that was a way to make money. And right now, putting AI in your product description, that's just a way to make money. And there will come a point where that stops being the case, and those will go away. But the tech itself, that's here to stay. Check out the comments in the video. I wonder if AI can figure out why you have such a punchable face. Okay. Free up people to do what exactly? Jack off. Instead we got AI gooning. Well, you know. I'm a retail worker and I really like AI to not replace us. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one.